Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 68. This one's on the prelims. At middleweight, we got Jun Park, the Iron Turtle, taking on Denis Tolulin. Tolulin going to have a 2-inch advantage in height and a 4-inch advantage in reach. So I guess I'll start with him. This will be his third UFC bout. He's gone 1-1 to this point. Got choked out in his UFC debut against Kazirev, but he did pick up the win against Jamie Pickett. And it's a UFC win, but I've never rated Jamie Pickett very highly. I think he's gotten very lucky with matchmaking to still be on the roster, and he doesn't really excel anywhere. But with Tolulin, he has a lot of power in his hands, likes to march forward. Not necessarily a guy who's just in your face the entire time, but he is going to have a reach advantage in this one. But anyway, yeah, you watch him fight, and he's always loaded up for the power shots. He keeps his power late, even in grinding fights. He can still put it on his opponents. He has good body kicks, and he's very good in the clinch, too. That's how he was able to finish Pickett. Knees and elbows in tight. Ended up finishing the fight by putting him in the tie plum. Landed a couple knees to the body. I think one of them got through to the head, and that was that. But yeah, Pickett was crashing forward, trying to take him down. Briefly grounded him a couple times, but Tolulin was able to pop back up to his feet, which is not normally the case. That is the main issue with his game, I would say. 11-6 record, and he does get taken down at will. Against Ikram Aliskerov, got taken down repeatedly in that one, controlled for much of the fight, taken down at least 4 or 5 times and just controlled. But like I said, he does keep his power late in the third round there. He did manage to stun Aliskerov a couple times on these entries, but he eventually got him down again after eating a couple shots and ended up working in that Kimura in round 3. So UFC opponent there, or now he's with the UFC, that was with Brave at the time. But yeah, he's fought with some reputable promotions, M1, Brave. Now he's with the UFC, looking to pick up his third win, go 2-1 in his Octagon tenure to this point. But yeah, the problem with him has been problems on the ground, and he has been submitted a few times in this fight, or in his career, excuse me. But for Jun Park, very well rounded, always has been. But the main beef I have with his game is just lack of power. That's the thing that's always scary with betting on him. When he wins, it's almost always by decision. In the UFC, it's been exclusively by decision, except his last fight. He did work in the rear naked choke against Joseph Holmes after losing the first round. It was a good bounce back. Holmes very green, I would say, but yeah, Park was able to bounce back. Overall record of 15-5. One of those losses was to Shavkat Rakhmonov earlier in his career, and the losses in the UFC, Anthony Hernandez, who we know has very legit jiu-jitsu, was able to get the Anaconda, and Gregory Rodriguez did knock him out. And I think that Rodriguez kind of has the style to beat Park. You got to be well versed on the ground, and you got to have some power. Just not be afraid to march forward. He doesn't handle pressure all that well. The Eric Anders fight, split decision, could have gone either way. I thought Park got the third round, Anders got the first round, and honestly, after watching it, and I didn't watch it extremely closely in the second round, so maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that Anders won. I thought that Park got lucky with the decision. But I've gone over the I would say the weaknesses of Park's game first. But there's a lot of strengths. This guy is very, very solid, and the UFC record shows it. He's picked up multiple wins in the UFC over solid competition. Marc-Andre Barriault, Tafon Chukwe, Eric Anders, like I said, it was a little bit of a controversial decision in my eyes, but not really. So yeah, he has picked up wins over quality opponents, and very good boxing with Park. He does struggle sometimes if there's a reach advantage. He's a little bit hittable with the way he moves forward, but he will just keep pulling that jab out. Good boxing combinations. He scores points, just not a ton of power. And the main thing is that he has very good wrestling, and he's won a lot of these UFC fights by employing the ground game. Gets really good, powerful double legs that he just drives through on and gets his opponents to the ground. And once he's there, not very, he doesn't put a ton of energy into his ground and pound, but he just keeps it going for the whole fight. like against John Phillips, he just kept a steady stream of chipping ground and pound, just not overexerting himself, but just scoring a shitload of points. Just doesn't stop punching him. Almost got Phillips out of there just by doing that. And he was trying to work in the rear naked choke. But again, that is the thing that always gives me pause when you're betting on Jun Young Park. Just the fact that he doesn't have a lot of power, and if somebody really wants to just sit down on some shots and march forward like we saw Gregory Rodriguez do, he does have problems with that game plan. So for this one, we look at the odds. Jun Young Park, about a 2-1 favorite, minus 195. And I think it's fairly priced. I am going to bet this fight. Just the problem is I don't really know what to pair it with yet. I would say Tyura, but the line is very juiced on that one, so I'll have to see if I want to go with the sub prop. I think I am going to go with it, but we'll have to see because he's so well rounded. I could easily see the knockout, but even if he does stun people, he goes for the submission. But anyway, that's for the next video. For this one, yeah, I am gonna bet Park. I just don't know really what to pair it with, and I'm not looking to bet a whole lot on the Iron Turtle, only because, like I said, just Tolulin has a path here for sure. He has the reach advantage and he has the power advantage, I would say, for sure. And if he can just sit down on a couple of these shots, it could be bad. But I just think you're going to need more than that against Jun Young Park. And Tolulin has shown such a bad ability to defend the takedown that I do think that Park is going to be able to get him down. He's going to take his time, get one of these well-timed double legs, and then I think he's going to be able to control him and just salt these rounds away. But again, the only problem is, man, it's just because of the lack of finishing ability. Even if it gets to the third round, you're just still going to be a little bit sketchy because Tolulin does have the power advantage and the reach advantage, so he does have paths. But I just think that the wrestling ability of Park is going to be too much, and I think he's a smart fighter, implements smart game plans. I think we will see him wrestle here. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe, and take it easy.